Hey everybody, you're the Dragon here. A little while back, my mom picked up a 5-day survival kit from Wives Company. First she got one for my brother, and when I mentioned it, I was like, oh, it looks pretty cool. She decided that she'd get me one when my birthday rolled around. So I thought I'd just kind of go over what the contents are, and then also discuss my thoughts on what it is and whether or not it's something you might want to purchase or not. So here's the packaging that came on top of it. 5-day survival backpack, food, water, first aid, warmth, 64 pieces. Now it counts 32 servings of gourmet entrees and milk. I'm assuming that's half of the 64 pieces. 5 4.227 fluid ounces of water. Portable stove, stainless steel cup, squeeze flashlight, 5-in-1 survival whistle, 42-piece hygiene first aid kit, waterproof matches, Mylar blanket, emergency poncho, and playing cards. So as far as the foods go, which is what Wise is most known for, like the dehydrated meals, this one here is creamy pasta and vegetable rotini. You also have Southwest rice and beans, hearty tortilla soup, and then you have 2 breakfast ones. One's brown sugar and maple multigrain cereal, pretty much oatmeal, and the other one's an apple and cinnamon cereal, also pretty much oatmeal. You also get a whey milk alternative. These are the waters. You get 5 packs of them. You get just generic playing cards, 10-pack of generic tissues, first aid kit, which includes 10 band-aids that are 3/4 inch by 3 inches, 10 that are 3/8 by 1.5 inches, 2 gauze pads, 3 alcohol cleansing pads, 1 butterfly closure, and 10 Q-tips. I believe I also threw some wet naps in there or something like that. That's what's in there. You have one of these squeeze dynamo flashlights. Here it is. Doesn't feel super solid, but doesn't necessarily feel super cheap either. But if you look closely in here, it's not really centered at all. It kind of bends. But to release the dynamo, you pull it back. That releases this. And then there you go, flashlight. And then to lock it in place, you close it, click it. That's the flashlight. This looks like a generic 5-in-1 survival whistle. It says that it's by Ace Camp, but I'm sure it can be made by anybody. You've got the P-style whistle, as you can hear from the rattling. You've got a flint striker that is epoxied to the side right here. Not epoxy straight, but who really cares? I mean, it's a striker and that's decent. You've got a compass that, let's see, it's accurate. Has a mirror for signaling inside. And then the inside is hollow and sealed so you can put your matches in there. Here's your stove. It's just a basic looking like a Esbit stove almost. Yeah, there's the folding bottom, and you can hear the what the hexamine or whatever they are, pretty much the fuel tabs. Emergency blanket. It's done by centimeters, so it's 140 by 220 centimeters, 40 grams. Reflects almost 100% of body heat. Water and windproof. Remains elastic below freezing, small enough to fit in your shirt pockets. It's a Mylar blanket. If you don't have anything, this will obviously be useful. But there are obviously other options. I prefer personally the ones made by Survive Outdoors Longer, SOL. They tend to be a little sturdier. Neither one is extraordinarily sturdy, but the SOL version seems to, with that little backing they put on, be a little bit sturdier. Emergency poncho. Pretty much you see what you get. It's an orange trash bag with cutouts so it works as a poncho. Here's your cup, stainless steel, and doesn't flex, so it seems sturdy enough. not entirely sure. I'm assuming it's somewhere between 12 and 16 ounces of water. I believe these are N45 masks, but pretty much a respirator mask. Looks to be one respirator mask. And you have the pack itself, which I believe is now empty. The pocket layout of the backpack isn't bad. Seems sturdy enough. I mean, doesn't seem to me like anything of super high quality, but it does seem sturdy enough that it'll get the job done, which is what you're looking for. So here's my basic thoughts on this kit. If you are just starting out and you're just kind of a neophyte, you're just learning about disaster preparedness, or if you're going to get something from friends, this might be a good starter pack. This will obviously help you last 5 days. But I personally have some issues with it. My issues are, first, we'll start with the backpack. As I said, this backpack is more than adequate to do the job. But the complaint I have is that it's Digicam. If you are having to use this backpack and go anywhere with this kit, I prefer it to be a solid color, at least for urban situations. Black, coyote brown, or even red, if you're going to just have it as an emergency backpack. But a solid color so it doesn't look super tactical would be kind of ideal for me. There's uses for Digicam backpacks, but in the urban city I think it kind of makes you kind of stand out a little too much. Most of these items, at least as far as aside from the food, they seem kind of generic and not necessarily cheap, but not of high quality either. I'm not familiar with Ace Camp as a company, but as I said, it works, but I don't know how sturdy it will be, if it can take any abuse. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you stepped on this thing it'd be crunched, but I guess that could be expected, but I'd expect a little more robustness. Another issue I have though is you get the food pouches, and you need 4 cups of water, so 32 ounces to boil, and then you add the package in and you cover for 15 minutes. Now, if you have to use this on the run, this clearly does not hold 32 ounces, so you'd be making smaller portions, completely fine. But the water you're given is not enough. So if you go by we'll say 4.25. So you got 8.5, 17 ounces, and then 21.25 ounces. So you don't have enough water. They don't provide you with enough water to make one of these meals. Granted, water's heavy if you don't want to weigh down your pack, but water is essential. Technically, you can live for 5 days if they just gave you bottles of water. Because you can live 3 days without water, up to 3 weeks without food. So with that in mind, while these will provide a little bit, the only way the food's going to be really useful is either if you add water to your kit, or if you are at home and still have running water at your house. If not, if you're going to use one of these things, definitely have extra water stored. But if this is all in the pack and you're just expecting to use it as it is, I don't really think it's effective for that, because as I said, you do need to add things. The garbage bag they give you to hold your trash is exceptionally flimsy. It's like tissue paper. So I honestly say you'd be better suited to, heck, even use a kitchen garbage bag, but I would say actually like trash compactor bags, something that are like 3 mil, 4 mil. They'll be a lot more robust and be able to take any sort of tears, plus they can be used for other purposes. The other thing is that most of these items can be acquired actually relatively cheaply. This is on par with what you'd probably pay for most of the stuff, because I believe you can get the same meal kit, just the meal kit from Wise, for like $29, $32. This pack itself goes for around $70. But as far as like playing cards, you can get for, like, you can get them at the 99-cent store. Tissues, you can get several packs at the 99-cent store. Most of the stuff is actually, like, as I said, you can get cheaply. So with that in mind, I do like the food they provide. I think that it has 2 benefits for me. One, it does taste pretty good. I've used one of the cereals and one of the meals on a backpacking trip over a couple days, and it tastes fine. The other benefit is what comes with the kit and what you'd probably be able to order in the smaller, just the food. It's vegetarian, which for me isn't a big deal. I eat meat, but my wife is a vegetarian, and so having vegetarian dehydrated meals is actually a very big bonus. But the rest of the kit, other than the cup, I think you can get better quality from elsewhere for a cheap enough price. My personal preference is that you would build your own kit for multiple reasons. One, you'll know what's in it, and so you'll know what to expect when you're getting into it. And two, you can personalize it. So if you have special medications you need, you can have that. If you have more than one person, you're going to need more than one Mylar blanket. So the concept of a 5-day survival bag it's a decent idea, but I don't think it's absolutely necessary. As I said, you can survive if you just had water. You can take away all this stuff and just put in a whole bunch of water, and you will still survive for 5 days, barring any significant injury. And if you have any significant injury, a couple Band-Aids and alcohol wipe and a gauze bandage isn't really going to be effective. You're going to need more robust first aid. But as I said, for just a minimal foundation, I'm sure this is fine. I'm sure many people have it and like it and feel more comfortable with it. But personally, what I will most likely do is I will actually separate all these out. So I'll put the water in a couple of the backpacks I have, whether it be like in my car or something like that, for like added, just a little bit extra water that has a long shelf life. The food I'll part out into the various go bags that I and my wife have. The other stuff I will just kind of throw in a backpack that needs a little bit of extra stuff, or I actually have a backpack in my guest room so I can give them things like the poncho, the blanket, most of the little tools I could probably throw in that for guests, because at least it gives them something to go with. But that's my thoughts. For $70, when you add up all these things separately, you're probably getting an okay deal. Not a great deal, but not a bad deal. But personally, I think I would prefer to build up my own kit, which I have personally, but I think you'd be better suited to develop a kit that works best for your environment, for what your difficulties that you'll have. Like I'm in California, so earthquakes are going to be a big issue, so water is going to be key. It's also a hot and arid environment. But if you're somewhere else, whether it be trapped in a blizzard or something like that, some of these things aren't as necessary and other items become more necessary. There's no cutting tool that's involved in this, so that's something you'll definitely need. Cordage is all but lacking from this, so that's something you'll need. But this is a good starting point to start thinking about what would you actually need. And there's plenty of lists online that can help you with what is useful or what other people have found useful for their kits. There's some that are environmentally specific. There's some that are more generalized for just disaster preparedness. But that's my basic thoughts. I would say if I was to buy this personally, I would not actually buy this. I would just buy their food kit, which, as I said, is like something like $29 to $32, because the food is decent. It'll hold a long time, and it's able, like as I said, the added benefit of having vegetarian dehydrated meals is beneficial for my wife. The rest of the stuff I would go out and get individually. So yeah, I'd like to know if your thoughts, if you have something like this, or if you've been given something like this, or if you purchased something like this. Beyond that, any comments or any sort of added advice is always welcome. And thank you very much. Hope you all enjoyed this.